Hey, greetings. This is Chef Pat chiming in from the driver's seat. For me, Fridays are fatherly Fridays where I'm going to choose to just share experiences, lessons, wisdom, just anything around my fatherly experience that I'm having. And today, the universe showed up. The universe don't make any mistakes. I had my first ride of the day was a gentleman who had a very similar fatherly experience. So I had to share it because it meant so much to me. So I'm hoping it's going to mean that much to you. So being a co-parent with a amazing mother is a blessing for us fathers. So I'm always thankful for my son's mother and all that she is doing for him and allowing my experience to be great. So my son's a teenager right now, and I go through my ups and downs. I'm going through one of my transitionary periods right now because, my corporate job, they decided to eliminate my position. I've dealt with severance. I was running a business, and the business didn't work out the way I wanted it to. So I stepped down from that business and have had to, pretty much do a hard reset of the things that I'm experiencing in life. And my son has had to have a front seat to it. So I know it's had a dramatic impact on him to the point where he kind of lost some confidence in dad. And he was like, Dad, you're almost 50. What's going on, man? Can't get your life together, man? What's happening? So he was almost disappointed. So it was a touching moment for me because I'm like, dang, my son almost don't believe in me. He's feeling that dad can't get it together. He's unsure if dad can be there to support him and take care of him. So I've had to take a step back and look at myself and some of the decisions that I've been making, some of the things that I'm doing. And for a brief moment, I was sad, not depressed, I was sad. But I became encouraged. And I had to because I don't give up. I'm not going to give up. Things aren't going the way I wanted them to. But it doesn't mean that I had to stop. First of all, I have value. Second of all, I have a skill set, I have knowledge. So it's just a matter of time before I start to generate revenue based upon those things. And I had to have a tough conversation with him to get my son to understand that, look here, sometimes business partnerships don't work out the way you want them to. Matter of fact, a lot of business partnerships do fail. When you work for a company, they will let you go at some point if they don't see the value in your position because you do become a line item in the spreadsheet. So unfortunately, I fell victim to being a line item in the spreadsheet. So yes, the sources of revenue that I had disappeared. And that's okay because as long as you have a skill, you can generate revenue again. And that's one of the things I had to make sure my son understood that, daddy may not have what he used to, but these things can come back and they will come back. And I'm showing my son every single day that daddy's going to fight, daddy's going to keep pushing. And the biggest thing is that now I have a plan in place. Honestly, I went to a couple of business ventures without a plan, and that is not wise. Most of us know this, but sometimes we get excited because we do business with people that we're cool with and think, hey, it's just going to work. No, you have to have a plan. You have to follow that plan, and you have to deviate from that plan when things aren't going according to plan. But if you don't have a plan at all, you are literally just throwing darts at the wall and hoping something sticks. But either way, this is not about that. This is really about the gentleman that I had in the car. I picked up this gentleman, and he was very calm. He wasn't in a bad mood, but he was just very calm and kind of quiet. But as I offer every person that comes into the car, I let them know that, look, I have some water, I have some fruit snacks, or even a mint if you choose to take that. So I always offer everyone in my ride something. That brought his energy up a little bit. Because for some reason, most drivers don't offer him anything, even though he does offer gratuity. So I'm glad we was able to start off on a good note because I had something to offer him. The next thing, we just randomly started chatting. He enjoyed the music that I was playing. Came to find out that he was actually from this part of the country, which is very rare because there's so many people that I meet in South Florida that are not from South Florida. It's hilarious. But he was from South Florida. Either way, we started chatting and we ended up sharing information in regards to both of us no longer being with our wives and both of us having sons. And he was letting me know that his challenge, his journey with his son has been one of ups and downs because of the line of work that he's in. And the line of work that he's in has had his high moments where he was making lots of money. He was always busy, and has had his low moments when he wasn't making a lot of money. And he let me know that he's a very family-oriented guy, but he's a workaholic. And he had to recognize that because he's been a workaholic, that probably led to the demise of his marriage. And because he was a workaholic in the industry with some financial ups and downs, that probably led to some of the challenges he's had with his son. But nonetheless, he has never given up on his son. And he hasn't given up on his ex-wife because they have a good working relationship, co-parenting relationship. But the biggest thing is that he let me know that because of his skill set in his industry, that it definitely has been tough. But he hasn't quit because it's tough. He is highly skilled at what he does. And right now he's going back through a great moment. So he's rebuilding again, and he's doing work, and he's making his money. But in that same light, he is continuing to recognize what his role was in how his family structure changed. And that's important for many of us men, many of us fathers, to recognize our roles and how our roles are having an impact on our families. For those of you fathers who are still with your wives, congratulations. But even though you're with your wife, are you doing a great job of balancing husband and wife as well as mother and father? Because they are two completely different dynamics within the family structure. They are important, and they both must be fed on a consistent basis. So make sure that mommy and daddy time gets the respect and the time that it deserves, but make sure that husband and wife time gets that same type of energy, because it's needed, because husband and wife are different than mommy and daddy. So those of you fathers that are still with your wives, please cherish your wife the way that the wife needs to be cherished, because she needs love. She needs attention. She needs to be reminded how beautiful she is. She needs to be reminded of how you appreciate the role that she's playing. She needs to be taken out. She needs to have her feet massaged and all these great romantic things that wives need. But mommy does need support differently than the wife needs support. So let's keep that in mind. But I'm speaking directly to the fathers who are no longer with their wives or no longer with their significant others, and are doing the best they can to make sure that they are holding up their end of the co-parenting relationship. So the passenger that was in the car was just letting me know, like, man, you can't give up. You have to stay consistent. You have to make sure that your son, your child, or children know that you are there for them. Maintain an open line of communication with them. Make sure that you are showing up for them consistently. Make sure you're showing up for yourself consistently, and don't be too hard on yourself. But just know that you will continue to rebuild. Just make sure that you're taking those right actions. And a passenger definitely is taking those right actions. He's keeping that great energy up with his line of work. And he's recognizing where he needs to actually give himself a break so he can get back to being present for his son. Because he had to realize over these past couple of years that he wasn't always present. And that was a problem that he is fixing right now. And I recognize that after my divorce and me working a full-time job, me running a business and doing other things I was doing, I was taking time away from my son. And I made it difficult for me to build with him, especially in a vulnerable moment of him experiencing his parents no longer being together, and him at a young age having to go between house to house. And it wasn't easy, because I literally went from a moment where I rented a room from somebody. So the time I spent with my son, he was just literally, we're sharing a room together. That couldn't have been cool for him. He's having to pack a bag to come with me. So he literally took a trip every time he spent time with me. And that is tough on a child. So he's had to experience me going from renting a room to getting an apartment to getting a condo, and all these different moments. And it could not have been easy on him. And in between all of that, I was working a lot. And typically, I had to lean on his mom to be able to pick him up sometimes. I had to lean on his mom maybe to take him for an extra night or two because of the other obligations I had, because I kept prioritizing making money. And one of the things that me and the passenger had to agree on is that sometimes making the money is not always the priority, especially in the young age for our children. We have to find that balance, create that balance, especially as men, where we are making the money, but we are making the time to be with our kids, especially our sons, because they need to see us, but also they need to hear us. They need to hear the lessons from us. They need to get the discipline and the structure from us, that consistent discipline and structure from us. So I had to make sure that you guys hear this story. I had to make sure you understand that fathers go through a lot, especially fathers that end up co-parenting and the fathers that stick around to co-parent. We go through a lot, and many of us mentally are trying to get ourselves in a good space so that we can be in place to be there for our child, for our children, and to let them know that we love them dearly. And there's things that daddies have to take care of, but nothing we have to take care of will ever be a priority over taking care of them. So I just want to make sure you guys hear that. I was not able to get him on camera because he's definitely a very introvert. So he doesn't want to share his story, but it was just amazing to be in the car with him today and to be able to resonate with an experience that's so similar with somebody who understands the journey that it takes to be a father, to go through some, I guess, financial disappointments and continue to push on. So just wanted to share that story with you from the driver's seat, because there's many more to come, but you never know who's going to get in this car, and you never know who's on a similar journey and path with you and who needs that encouragement. But today on Fatherly Friday, I want to make sure that all fathers know you are needed, you are desired. No matter if you are a highly successful dad, that is fantastic. Keep providing for your children, keep providing for your family. But if you're a dad that's experiencing a down moment, a dad that's experiencing unemployment, a dad that's experiencing a transition in life, keep pushing. Don't be afraid to share with your children or your child how you're dealing with the situation, how you are overcoming the situation, because they will experience that too. Trust and believe they will experience it too. And they need to see you stay encouraged. They need to see you, your head up. They need to see you continue to push through whatever that challenge is that you have. So this Chef Pat sharing with you from the driver's seat. So enjoy your Friday. Be blessed. Peace.